Welcome, Andrew. So now that just gives everybody some time to join on the live stream. So today we're going to be discussing about the struggles of signing a professional contract in the USA. And a lot of people don't know how hard it is actually when it comes to trying out for teams, how much it costs, what it actually takes, besides having the skill to be, to sign a contract in the US. So today I brought with me Noah. He has his own YouTube channel. If you haven't seen it before, I have it right there. I'm gonna update the description right now so you can go and check out his channel right now. Y'all can go ahead and subscribe to his channel. So I'm gonna leave in the comment section down below. I'm gonna pin my comment. So anybody who's joining in on the live stream can go ahead and check out his channel. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Okay, so I have pinned his channel. So if you're just joining on and you want to go check out his channel as well, you can go check it out right now and then you can subscribe. So today we're going to be talking about the struggles of signing a professional contract in the USA. And here I have with me, I have Noah. Noah, can you go ahead and introduce yourself to the channel?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. My name is Noah Kavanaugh. I'm a professional soccer player from Seattle, Washington. I've been playing professionally since I graduated college in 2018 from a small D3 school called Whitman. And got the opportunity to play in a couple different places. I played in Denmark, Spain, Los Angeles, back in Seattle again, in Australia. And then now I'm looking for my next contract in 2022.
Wow. So what country was the last country you just played in?
Australia.
Australia. And before we even talk about how you are trying out in the US, how did you even get the chance and opportunity to try out in Australia?
So I'm represented by One Pro Sports Management, or OPSM. Many people have probably heard of them through guys like Matt Sheldon or 7MLC. I sort of went background like probably 3 or 4 years ago, contacted them through Instagram and ended up getting involved with their program, and they've been awesome for me. And so that was the connection through which I was able to go to Australia.
Mm-hmm. And is Australia, in Australia, do the trials, do they cost a lot of money, or is it more free as long as you talk to the right people?
The second one, actually. It's mostly either invite who you know, or like I don't think they had any paid tryouts at all, actually. Like it's totally free. As long as you know somebody in the club, you can just rock up and say, hey, coach, like I know so and so, he mentioned to you that I was coming down. In my case, I had a contract and I signed paperwork before I even got down there. And then the second team that I played for, I had a connection through somebody who ended up, literally the coach texted me and he said, hey, come down, here's when we're having trials. And then that was that. So I didn't have to pay anything down there.
That's actually pretty fantastic.
Yeah, wild.
Because here in the States, we actually have to pretty much pay for everything when it comes to trials. And a lot of guys watching probably know. Thank you, Sammy, for subscribing. We appreciate you. A lot of people don't know how hard it is. So the first thing we're going to be talking about, how much does it actually cost? So before you even get to trial for any teams here in the States, the cost is extremely different. And I know it varies depending on those who have agents. What's your opinion on the cost as of right now? Do you think the US should change the ways of charging players? Or do you think if they stop charging players, they're going to be an influx of players that don't care, that just showing up just to have a chance? What's your thoughts on that?
That's a good one. I think there's two different sides to this coin. I think there's one that says, like, part of me says people have to make money somehow. A lot of the smaller, especially non-MLS clubs, like if you're looking at a NISA team, if you're looking at a USL1 team, sometimes those clubs don't have a ton of money. So they have to they have to make money somehow. And open tryouts are, and let's talk open tryouts first, right? So these are guys that aren't invited. These are guys that can sign up and or apply, so to speak, and show up and trial for a day, 2 days, 3 days, and cost anywhere between, I've seen the lowest at like $100, the most expensive at like $400, $500, which is crazy to me for an open tryout. Oftentimes teams will already have their roster basically put together. Maybe one guy, maybe two guys gets invited to a tryout after that, but most of the dudes that are there won't get invited. I think part of that has to be, and here's where the education piece comes in, right? Like, and I'm sure you know this, like the more you educate yourself and the more you are able to educate others about how open trials actually work, the smarter that consumer, if you will, i.e. the players that are going to those open trials, become. And so I think on a club, on the club level, it makes total sense that they would do something like that. That being said, it raises the bar for accessibility to most players, which I think is a shame. And I think that's where it's like the access to good training and to good coaches and to tryouts and stuff, that financial bar becomes so high that it's open to, you know, a population size that's this big when you have talent that's in all age ranges, all socioeconomic status places, you know, it's talents everywhere.
Yeah.
So I think it's, yeah, it goes both ways. What are your thoughts on it?
In my aspect of things, I don't mind if teams charge players to come to open trials and such things, but I feel like there should be a limit to the amount they charge, because a lot of these players who are coming to all of these open trials, they have to pay for their own flight tickets, which cost over $100. If they're going to be there for a trial that's going to be there for more than 1 day, they're going to have to pay for their own hotel. They're going to have to pay for their own food. So, you know, the more trials you go to, the higher your chance of signing a professional contract.
Yeah.
But when it costs $100 for a flight ticket, $200 for the open trial ticket, that's already $300. Now you got to pay $80 a night at a hotel. You multiply that by 3 nights or 2 nights, and then the food that's going to cover you. And if you're going to get a rental car, if you're in a city that there's no trains, there's not a lot of Uber around, you're looking at $500 for a single trial.
Right.
But then there's players that do have agencies that can cover these fees. But for a majority of people that are like us, that are grinding from the bottom up, a lot of them don't have all that extra funds, especially if you're chasing a contract. And I think that's the ultimate barrier that we see, because as much as people don't want to pay it, the only opportunity you have is whenever you spend money here in the States. Right. So we have to do what we got to do. But I feel like if the system made it to where, I don't know, maybe if they made it cheaper, they can still charge people for, so we don't get a bunch of random people that don't care about the sports or just showing up. Or if teams can find better ways of accommodating players who are serious. Or even better yet, why don't I would recommend teams who just have invitationals where they preview and then they don't even charge those players because they know good players are coming, versus letting anybody pay $200 and then you may be a good player, but they put you on a team full of players that don't even know how to play soccer. And you're just, you know, you don't even stand out. You'll give a ball to somebody and then they'll take it from them. So you can't even show how good you are. You may be giving the best through balls, but they won't be making the runs because they don't know how to play. So that's kind of how I see it. And
I wonder if there was a way that teams were able to budget, because I think there is a positive to something like a combine, right? Like I'll just speak for OPSM, right? Like OPSM hosts these combines and they're a couple $100, but you get discounted hotel rates where everybody stays in the hotel. You know, you've got sometimes ferrying back and forth or shuttle back and forth from the airport. So that's taken care of. They, you know, I think if there are ways, and not necessarily at an agency level, like maybe I'm trying to think of like, let's say LA Galaxy, right? Like let's say LA Galaxy has a tryout.
Yes.
They recruit LAFC, LA Galaxy, LAFC 2, Galaxy 2, anybody else in the SoCal region, Cal United, LA Force. They get all of those groups together and they say, let's pool. And again, like being realistic here, I don't think anybody's this generous at the
Yeah.
professional level, but like, right, like we can spitball ideas of like, hey, maybe everybody gets together and they say, let's get this whole thing sorted so that we can get a hotel sponsor, we can get people together. I think that would do a couple things, and I'm curious to know your thoughts. Like, I think at a systemic level, you'd get more better players coming out of the woodworks if you had setups like that as opposed to just open tryouts.
Yeah, honestly, I agree. That's actually an interesting point because whenever I went to Costa Rica this summer,
Mm-hmm.
all the players arrived. So
Right.
we had all the players arrive, and they had one shuttle bus for us, for all of
Right.
us to go to the facility. So the shuttle per person is like $150, but
Mm-hmm.
there's like 8 seats inside the shuttle that will drive the 7 hours to the facility. But he's like, everybody get there at a certain time, and everybody
Mm-hmm.
got on the shuttle, and everybody paid, I believe it was like $15
Right.
or $15 or $20 per person, and we
Mm-hmm.
all went on the shuttle. We got there, and they already provided. They had the facility, they had rooms, but most pro teams don't have that type of program. So they don't
Yeah.
have that they can provide, but they can easily talk to any hotel and tell them, hey, I'm going to have an open trial. There's going to be a lot of players coming and your business is going to flourish. If you can give
Right.
us a discount, I'm pretty sure 90% of hotels would be like, yeah, we're down because free business, like they're
100%.
down. And that's something that I really noticed. So let's check out the comments real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Hey man, how can I get a contract or get scouted? I'm 16, 6'4", similar build like Holland. I play winger. Honestly, if you're trying to get a professional contract and as of right now you're 16, what I would recommend you do is try to build a plan on how you're going to plan to get there. If you're still in high school, see what you can do outside of high school. Do you need to get into academy club? Do you need to go to a Division I school? Do you need to leave the country? Figure out what it is that you want. I'm assuming you are a good player. And if you're not there yet, still work on what you need to do, but have a plan. A plan will take you so far just because you know what's next and next. Cell 7767 says, I think the way NISA is, it won't be around by the end of 2020. Any thoughts? Any thoughts on that, Noah? He
2020 or
thinks
2022?
he says by the
I
end of
assume
probably he meant end of 2022. Yeah.
2022. You know, I honestly like I'd have to disagree because I think like MLS Next, I think will put a bunch of pressure on NISA for a lot of reasons. And I think NISA is going to have to do some really good structural work on how they're able to build their player base in a way that's sustainable, right? So if they start paying their players really, really well, if they start offering nationwide tournaments, if they do like if they bring international, if they start like a second or third division CONCACAF with a bunch of Canadian teams and a bunch of like if we were to do like a I don't know an Americas tournament with NISA, like how sick would that be, right? Like
Yeah.
that would be really cool. I don't think they'll be gone given how easy the buy-in is to that league. So a bunch of expansion teams are happening now. But I think they are with the MLS Next. I think they are going to have to really bump up their structuring if they are going to survive longer than let's bump it out and say like 2025. Like I think, by 2025, I think they're going to have to really do some work to try and keep players in that league, especially in the younger generation.
Honestly, I think what's missing out of the NISA is just academies for younger players. I
Yeah,
know because the U.S. system, the academy is also a way most teams make their earnings.
for
If they
sure.
could find, I don't know how many NISA teams there are right now. I think there's like 12. or probably less than that. But if each team had 500 kids worth of academies, let me do the calculations. You have, let's say, 8 NISA teams that have 500 youth academy students. And if each one of them is paying the 200 a month times 12 months, that's $9,600,000 right here.
Yep.
Off of 500 academy kids per NISA team. And if all of them were paying the same prices as MLS Next. So this is just to show you guys like how much these academies make for these teams. Well, this is for the whole league, at least. This is for the whole league. The whole league will gain an additional $9 million, which will easily keep the league around just by taking the academy kids funding into this aspect. So I think NISA is gonna stay. It's like you mentioned, it's really cheap to get into NISA, and I don't think there's any borders of how much money they have to invest. Let's read. AMZ said he's never had a trial. Yeah, once you start, you'll realize you'll kind of understand what we're talking about. So if you ever do decide you need to go on trial, make sure you give yourself time to save money, because it's not cheap, especially if it's out of your state. Soccer said he's still not a pro. Oh, he meant by the end of the decade, or the 2020s. Okay, that made sense.
End of the deck. I was like, man, dude, 2022.
That's
really steep, bro.
Yeah, I was like, I think it's still barely alive.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, before I continue with the comments, there's a lot of players. Wait, give me 1 second. Let me turn on the lamp real quick. Can you see the comments right now?
I can't, no.
All right, here, let me see if I can. Because I'm gonna let you answer some of the questions, and then I'll get the ring light turned on.
Live transcription of the meeting, is that?
Just if you just go on YouTube and go to the channel, it's live right now. That's why I'm watching on the second window.
Oh, okay. I was like, how am I supposed? Okay. Let me get my laptop up. Hold on.
Okay, that's definitely what I'm hoping on, Patrick. 2020 is definitely going to be an amazing year. Great news is coming, but I can't say anything yet because it's grind season, and we keep moving forward. And then I think you guys are gonna really like the content whenever I start showing it. And you got it. Let me know when you got it on. Because I feel like I'm
okay.
I feel like because I'm kind of dark, so I forget I'm dark skinned, so I gotta put the light even better.
Damn, bro. All right, here we go. So I got you. NISA. Let's see. I've never had a trial. Still not pro. Okay. Meant by the end of the decade. All right, Blue Gamer. I'm 21. How would you recommend I can get scouted? So getting scouted, I think, is all about connections and network, right? So if you think about the way that say you were to go to college, or the way that you especially get into the professional level, a couple of things need to happen, right? You need to have a really good highlight video. You need to be playing at the highest level possible. So in your local area, whether that's an academy team, whether that's a club team, whether that's a Division 3, 2, 1, whatever, an NAIA school, like whatever the highest possible level you can be playing at and succeeding at that highest level, right? So you're not going to get looked at unless, and this is just the reality of what it is, right? You need to be succeeding at that super high level in order to get scouted, so to speak. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it's looking good. Wow, that looks fantastic.
Awesome. Hell yeah. So I think to continue that, right, is like having a CV, having a highlight video, making sure you're I think a lot of people underplay this, but like you have to be crushing it at whatever level you're currently at. So you need to be looking at, am I on an academy level, and am I am I getting playing time? Am I starting every game? Am I scoring goals? If I'm a center back, am I making tackle? Is my 1v1s on lockdown? Like you're looking at all the micro details, and all of that leads to getting scouted. Now, the second part of that is sending emails to coaches, networking with a ton of different people as best you possibly can, and getting as many emails out as possible. Like, if I usually recommend people send 5 to 10 emails a day on a consistent basis. If you don't hear back from somebody, email them back a week later and say, hey, I don't know if you got this. Make phone calls, see if you can get yourself out there, especially in this period of time when we're in January, right? Make sure to get in those teams, because if you can get invited, all you need is one door to open, and you get invited to that preseason, you get invited to that next combine, you get invited to that trial, and then everything can cascade from there. So when you're 21, you're still young. So I wouldn't, don't stress about not having a contract right now. I graduated, I turned 23, and I guess I signed my first professional contract like a couple days before my 23rd birthday. Like, and that's old, for a lot of guys in Europe. And so at the end of the day, like, everyone's on their own journey. People need to stop looking at what the media looks like, whatever. Like, don't stress about the timing of everything. Just go about it. Be relentless with your execution, with your training, with your performances on the pitch, and you will get looked at. So that's the biggest thing for me. And then obviously network. So Blue Gamer, good question. Love it.
Nice. AMZ. Did you read this one where he says he lives in the UK?
There's one right before that one. Cell 7767.
He said, I said that because I was looking at some teams attendance and it was low also. Oh, you're talking about the NISA. Yeah.
Cool.
Honestly, NISA can do better when it comes to marketing, because a lot of players don't know it. I know a lot of players, they even know it, and I made a video. But even now, if I ask players, do you know NISA? They'll be like, I've heard of it, but nobody really knows about it. So I think NISA, people would come watch if they just knew about it.
For sure.
If they just need somebody to market it. AMZ said, I live in the UK. I play Division 1 football. It's so hard to get recognized here. I'm certain I have pro ethic. It's just so hard and popular here. I can guarantee you what you just said is what every single person says in whichever country they are in that haven't signed a pro contract.
Yep.
Everybody thinks if I go to a different country, it's going to be easier. It could be true, but for the most part, even if you go to a country that you don't know, if you don't have any contacts, you're going to be in the same exact spot. So that's where, like, a lot of us, if I really wanted to leave the States to go and find trials out elsewhere in another country, I would 100% need an agent or somebody there that knows people. Because here in the United States, I'm building up connections. Like, I know Noah, if he was part of a pro team and they were looking for certain type of players, I could be like, hey, bro, should I come to this trial because you're there? And I built this sort of network where I can find players. But in your country, you also have a network. You may haven't signed your contract yet. It's hard, but a lot of people with that mindset end up quitting early. And that leaves gateways for other people that haven't quit to get those contracts. And if you just think about it, everybody that just signs are those who didn't quit. It's just, it follows and follows and follows. Take a look at Griezmann. I'm pretty sure he could have quit a long time ago, but look at him now. The only reason he's where he's at is because he said, no, I'm not going to quit. And he kept moving forward.
That's facts right there, dude. And honestly, I think that's where you get so many people that drop out. Like, I know so many talented players who are like, oh, it's too hard. It's this, it's that, it's the other thing. And I'm not, blaming AMZ, right? Like, whatever your name is, boss. Like, excuse me, but like,
it is hard.
Again, everyone knows it's tough. It's super, super tough. But yeah, you hit the nail on the head. That was, it's important that you bump through that, because as soon as I think Matt Sheldon actually talked about this in one of his videos a while ago of
Mhm.
like the filters that at each level you get,
Yeah.
50% of the players don't, or I guess it's like 90% of the players don't go to college and then jump to pro. And
Mhm.
then who stays for a second year? That's another group of players going,
Mhm.
right? And it's like over and over and over again, you see all these filters that take guys just totally out of the game. And a lot of it comes back to what you're saying of like that mindset of like, oh man, it's so hard. Like, or I
Mhm.
don't want to train all the time, or I don't want to do this, or I don't want to do that. Like, it's try as best you can, in my opinion, like try as best you can when that voice in your head saying like, oh, it's too hard, it's whatever. Take full. There's a book by Jocko Willink, who's a Navy SEAL, called Extreme Ownership that I think that I live by. And it's how do you take extreme ownership of every scenario you're in. So if I don't make a team, it's 100% my fault. I don't care if the coach didn't even watch me. It's still my fault because I got to be good enough for him to see. And it's the same concept in the other way, right?
Mhm.
If I've got extreme ownership, all of a sudden I go, oh, you know what? It's really tough. Cool. It's my job to network 10 emails a day. And all of a sudden that's a mindset switch right there.
100%. And for an example, I don't know a lot of people watching right now know William Akio.
Mm.
I brought him on my channel several times, a lot of times actually, but he was on my team. He signed and he's playing a professional team. And I remember one of the first FaceTime calls I had with him after like a week of him training with the team. He was like, JD, you won't believe it, but everybody you see playing on TV, you think they're perfectly fine, but there's actually a lot of players who are playing hurt. Like it's their career. Even if you have little nicks and stuff, they just grind through. You have a sprained wrist, you wrap it. As long as you can play, you play. And he's like, you on TV, it looks like players. He's like Neymar. You look at Neymar, Messi. You won't know when they're in pain, but they're still showing out. And it's just that mindset level. Because I can
Mm.
guarantee you, there's that one guy who tears his ACL and says, you know what, the game isn't for me. And then you take a look over your shoulder. You look at Zlatan, tears his ACLs in his 30s, recovered, and is back at the top of the leaderboards,
And dominating. Like,
dominating. And
yeah,
then you're
bro.
just like, you're over here, you're 23, you had Victoria ACL, and now it's over. And that mindset actually plays a big, important part. And I think I have to take a look at that book. And anybody who's coming in new to the stream, this is Noah. I put his YouTube channel. I pinned it. So if you're new, be sure to go check out his channel and hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get him to 5,000 subscribers.
Hey,
He's
thank
almost
you.
there. So let's get him to the 5,000 subscriber mark. So now the reason why I'm making this live is because as I said in the beginning, a lot of players, they go trial for teams. They don't exactly know how hard it is in the United States because everybody overseas says, hey, I want to come to the United States because people overseas make fun of the MLS, the leagues here. They say, oh, that's a retirement league. Okay, it's a retirement league. Come here and sign a contract.
Mm.
Everybody's quiet suddenly. Oh, I don't want to play there anyways. I don't want to play. Oh, okay. I will never disrespect other pro players for a league they play in because I understand how hard it is. And I really dislike watching YouTube videos where there's people who don't play professionally who are mocking or looking down on certain players that made a contract in a certain league. And I'm like, y'all don't understand how much effort and time and money that is spent to even get in front of a coach and for them to say, yes, I want you on my team. The people who don't understand, it just, I'm watching, I'm just like, wow, I can't believe they'd actually say that. And then that's why I wanted to do bring Noah on the live stream because he's pretty much doing the same thing I'm doing. We're both in the US and I wanted you guys to get a different perspective because he's coming in from Australia to find a contract back here in the States. And obviously I went to the school route and, 2020 pretty much ended all seasons for all sports. And here am I today trying to get back in front of coaches outside of playing college soccer.
Mm-hmm.
And let me look at the comments. Okay. You did answer the guy who said how he can build connections, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Hey, William Akio's in the house.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, somebody left for Noah. He left a question. Hey, Noah, were there some players that you played with in practice which were great? Then when it came to the game time, they were kind of eh? Or is that not common in the pro level?
That's a fabulous question. I don't think I've ever like props to who is this? Yeah,
So,
sell 70. Yeah.
so
Dang, dude. This is no, this guy's coming through with some fire questions. So I think so I've seen it a couple different ways. Especially when you get to the higher once you get to the higher levels, everybody's training like a professional, right? Everyone's balling out in training, everyone's doing their thing. Yeah, guys have in and outs. And I think that's where, on TV, you might watch, let's just say you watch Man City play and everyone's showing out, everyone's balling out. You go to training, when you're in a training session with these guys, of course, everyone's going to have an off day, right? Of course, everyone's going to have ups and downs, but it's all about the consistency. They're all showing up. They all have the attitude. Everyone's got work hard. Maybe my touch is off, but I can still control what's in here and I can still control my work ethic. And those are the two things that no matter what are going to be at 110% at training every single day and in games, right? And then, but I guess to directly answer your question, yeah, of course they're guys, because there's no pressure, right? Like in training, there's no pressure. So guys will do stuff that I've never seen in my life before in training, and they get to the games and they shut down. And it's like, okay, all right.
yeah.
Like, all right, dude. Like I see where the pressure's getting to you. But again, like a lot of these guys don't have, well, not a lot, but some of these guys, especially the younger ones, don't have that they've worked on all aspects of their game except for the mental piece of it. And they haven't gone in and done the visualization. They haven't gone and done a lot of the confidence building exercises. And that stuff makes a huge difference when you get in front of, let's even say 1,000 people, like, which is, that's a lot of people, but it's not 50,000 people,
Mm-hmm.
and you get in front of 1,000 people and all of a sudden you're, crapping yourself because you're like, oh my God, like if I make a mistake, my girlfriend's mom's cousin is going to care what I, like they're going to do something crazy. And it's like, nah, dude, just relax, play your game. The less you think, the more it becomes automatic and the more you crush it. So yeah. I don't know.
I kind of think it has a lot to tie down to experience, because I'm pretty sure once from your experience, you play at a high level. And let's say, a UPSL team or USL League 2 team ask you if you can just play with them for one game. The mindset you'd have is, I'm a pro player. Like, I'm going to ball out. And whenever you play, even if you do make mistakes, you don't even see it as a big deal because you're like, naturally, your mind is telling you, I'm better than the players on this pitch.
Totally.
And the biggest difference with a lot of other players is if you've never played at a higher level, you kind of feel like, oh, those guys might be better than me. Because I'm pretty sure if you brought Messi to play in Nisa, even if he made a mistake, I don't think he'd be like, oh man, I made a mistake. He'll just be like, it's okay. I'm still going to dominate. That's how he sees it. And I think that's actually a big factor to this.
And that's something I think, really quick. I think that's something as well. Like if you, that's perfect. Because if you take that then to every single level you step up at, even if you're not the best player, if you think you're the best player, it has that same effect.
100%. How can I be the most confident? AMZ said, how can I be the most confident player I can possibly be and deal with pressure? For me, my confidence came straight from repetition. It depends. What makes you you gotta look back at yourself and close your eyes, just think to yourself, what makes me unconfident in matches? Is it because you have a bad touch? Is it because you can't finish? Is it you're afraid to get the ball because you think you're gonna mess up? If if it's the last one, why do you mess up? Is it your touch? Is it you can't control the ball? Is it you have no awareness? You want to just get down to pinpoint your weakness that causes you to be less confident and go in private. Work on it, work on it, work on it, work on it, work on it. If you suck at passing the ball, I better see you going to that wall, making at least 500 passes each day. 3 weeks from now, whenever you're giving the ball a pass, you're not even going to think about my touch is bad because that muscle memory is there. And even today, pro players work on certain things that they're not confident in, especially Ronaldo. If you see how much he trains before he did the bicycle kick, nobody knew he was practicing for months. And now he does it all the time like he's eating candy. But you'll be like, oh, this guy is so good. But nobody saw what he did in private to overcome that fear. Because the one thing he said, he just wanted to score a chilena because his whole career he never did. And he finally got it. And we're going to be on live for maybe another 10 minutes. Is there anything you want to share regarding other struggles that people might not know when it comes to a professional contract in the US? Is there anything that you've learned? If you were to ask, I don't know, 3 years in the past yourself that wanted to come to the United States, what would you tell yourself?
Oh, Jesus, dude. Okay, so my biggest thing, Anthony, I see you in the comments there. What's up, Anthony?
Hey, Anthony.
So I think that's a great question. And I think the biggest thing is no one owes you anything. Because I think 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I was like, oh, I'm the hardest worker out there. I'm doing everything perfect. I'm training 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day, whatever. Like I'm crushing it. I'm killing these guys. You get to the professional level, every single guy is doing that. Every single guy. Yeah, there are some guys that are just like massively talented that don't need to do that. And like, cool, the world's unfair. But that, and like, dude, the harsh, I would be very, how do I put this? No one owes you anything. You have to go get it. You have to take extreme ownership of your situation always. And don't be afraid to pull strings. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to grind through. I'm going to make my own way. It's like, nah, dude, nothing happens without connections in this world. Nothing. And I'm a firm believer in that, like nothing, whether it's an agent, whether it's like you and me, right? Like if I get on a team, you get on a team and I need a center back and I'm like, yo, I got you. Like, come out, like, let's do this. Right. It doesn't matter who it is. The world revolves around connections and you have to understand that. And I, 3 years ago, 4 years ago was like, oh, I'm going to sit here. People are going to come to me. I'm a rock star in college. Bro, every pro player is a rock star in college. Every single one of them. Every one of them. And so it's like, you got to take full responsibility of everything, go after it, build those connections, work hard, grind, and be humble but have confidence.
Yeah, that's actually a good thing to tell a previous self.
Yeah.
For me, honestly, if I were to give myself advice 3 years ago or before I came to a Division I school, I would have just, trust God in the process. Because before I even came to my Division I school, I had no idea where I was gonna go. I was stuck on Houston FC, a USL League 2 team, for like 3 years. And I was just like, man, nothing is happening. You get thoughts of, I could be making money right now, but I spend my days training, mornings training with Houston FC. And then I come back at night and then work like 3 hours and I barely have any money. And this process just kept repeating. And I'm like, I'm graduating with my associate's degree. My equity, my net worth is still like $500 while I'm seeing friends who are almost done with college, their universities. And I'm just like, man, this is really what I want to do. I was getting more and more of those thoughts, but I was like, you know what? No, I've already made it this far. I put like 5 years of my life into this. Let me just keep going. And then I finally was bold enough to email Division 1 teams. When I first started emailing, I didn't even email Division 1 teams. I was emailing Division 3 teams because I was like, you know what? I have a better chance making a Division 3. None of them responded. Not a single Division 3 school in Texas responded to my email.
Yeah.
And then I told my dad about it. And he's like, you know what? Do you even want to play the D3? I was like, no. He's like, so why are you messaging them? So I was like,
class.
And then the next day I emailed all the Division 1 schools in the United States, in Texas for soccer. And every single one of them responded.
Let's go.
And from that mindset, that's what I'm bringing to myself right now, because I don't know what's going to happen. You can always quit. Quitting is always there, but you gain nothing. And if you're already in pain, might as well get a reward for it. So I was just like, we don't know who's going to sign you, but you kind of know you're going to get signed. That's all I can explain it. It's like, you don't know who's going to sign you, but you just know it's going to happen. So
absolutely. And your dad kind of pointed something out there. Do you buy into the manifestation thing? Whether it's through God, whether it's through your own willpower, whether it's like whatever your thing is, right? Like,
100%. Because I believe whatever you are telling yourself, whatever you believe, naturally our brains, we program our subconscious minds to act according to whatever we're telling ourselves. If I wasn't telling myself, I can play on a Division 1 team. If I wasn't telling myself that, I would have never started emailing Division 1 coaches, because I was telling myself that. Then my brain was like, okay, you know what? This is what you need to do. I started emailing. I told myself, I want to sign a professional contract. What did I do? Started messaging coaches. And in December, there was a brand new USL League One team. And I messaged, it was an invitational trials, but the head coach, he had like 100,000 followers on Instagram, and he posted on his Instagram, and a bunch of people applied, and they didn't invite me in. But I realized this is where you need to be. Invitational trials are where, they look at your resume before they bring you in, so they know who they're going to be looking at. And just little things like that. We tell ourselves, I'm going to sign a professional contract. You could, whatever it could be. It's like it actually works. It actually works. Even if it's not soccer, if you want to get a girl's number and you're like, if you're telling yourself, she's gonna reject me. You end up showing up to her all awkward and like, okay, can I have your number? But if you're like, I'm gonna get her number, you're gonna be like, hey, I thought you were beautiful, etc. Can I have your number? And then she'll be like, oh, you're so confident, Exactly. And it works the same way in the game. People can actually see those energies. And anybody who's just joining in on the stream, be sure to go and subscribe to Noah and like the stream. We're trying to get him to 5,000 subscribers. And if you're watching this later on, be sure to go subscribe to his channel. He's dropping some facts right now. And we're going to try to get a good video. We're both going to be in the same place. We're going to try to get that in for you guys. And we're going to be getting a story of Noah, how he signed his first professional contract. So you can learn something from it that you don't know. Before we wrap up, we're gonna answer the last questions, and then we're gonna kind of wrap up the stream. Jacob Garrett says, to improve my confidence recently, when I go to pick up with guys in MLS overseas, I try to do stuff that I have struggled with. Now I'm more confident when going at players and attack because of my friend. 100%. Anthony's here. The whole crew is here. Yes, sir. Playing in first division Norway, that pickup is a way to gain confidence and develop habits. Yes, I agree. Final question: how do you balance football and school? Oh, I missed Sammy's question. I'm 16 years old. I want to go to Europe and see how level is there. What country would you recommend? Like fourth through sixth division? At 16, if you have the funds to go to overseas, get an agent. You're better off getting an agent than going to someone who's going to scam you or put you in danger. How do I balance football and school? Honestly, to this day, I don't know how. You just the school will give you your school soccer schedule, and you gotta just try to fit everything else in between. The one thing that really helped was find good friends that will support you.
Yes. Yes.
You missed a lot of classes, stuff like that, but there be those guys who got your back. They got your back.
And that's actually something. So I heard a great piece of advice once that was you got school, you got your schoolwork, you got your soccer, and you got your social. In order to survive in college, you can only pick 2 out of 3. So pick whichever 2 you want and go for it. Be happy. But I will tell you, like through all the whatever, the real friends who were like, oh, we're not even gonna invite Noah out to a party tonight because we know he's training still on Friday night at 10 p.m. It's like, cool. Like those are the guys that are still here and still homies.
Yeah, like they respect you.
Yeah.
Like I don't smoke, I don't drink, and a lot of the friends that I still have today, they all respect it. And literally, if we go somewhere, people will try to offer me something like, "Oh, no, he does." They'll say before I do. They'd be silent. I was like,
100%, bro.
You know that's how you create connections that people you can trust, because when you're not there, they're there for your back.
100%.
Like I didn't have to say anything. They're stopping other people out of respect for me. And whenever they go to a team, I'm pretty sure they're gonna do the same thing, especially if they know how hard you work. And yeah, so that's gonna be today's stream. Thank you guys for tuning up. If you're still here, be sure to go check out Noah's channel. Be sure to hit the subscribe. We're gonna bring you guys a lot more videos. Hit the like button, and we will be seeing you guys very soon. So God bless you all, and I hope you guys have a good night.
Yeah, thank you very much, bro.